Hi Aries, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to your Taurus season 2022 horoscope reading. I appreciate your being here. If you are new here, please subscribe, like and share. I'm grateful to all of you that come and join, and all of you that have been here. I very much appreciate it. I'm having a great time getting my channel going, and all of that interaction, the subscribing, the liking, the sharing helps me build my channel. So I really appreciate it. I have the chart up here, and we'll get to that in just a minute, but I also want to announce that my website is up, jovesstar.com. That's JOVESSTAR.com. If you'd like a personal reading, you can head over there and get a hold of me on the contact page. It will send me an email, and I would love to read for you. So also, if you want to read a little bit more about me, get to know me a little bit personally, there's information over there on that. And if there's something not on there that you want to know, ask me. Send me a message and ask me, and I'd be happy to answer it. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm actually going to make this chart bigger so that my eyes can see it better. Sometimes when you get a little older, your eyes just kind of go a little bit sideways. Okay, so hang on one second. Let me get a tool up here, my little whiteboard, so that I can actually, there we go, so that I can actually use this thing. Okay, and I can draw on it, which I absolutely love to do. All right, so here we have Taurus season, and we have the sun right here in Taurus, sitting right in your second house of values and earned income, your resources. The sun highlighting that area in the sign of Taurus. You focused on just that, on your shared resource, or not your shared resources, on your personal resources, your earned income, and just, you know, your overall security and comfort. Planning for that, possibly just really focused on that area of life right now. We also have Uranus and Mercury in your second house along with the sun, so that's more emphasis there. Uranus can, you know, give us insights. It can also cause a little bit of disruption, maybe some anxiety. Mercury in there is more mental energy, conversational energy, figuring out energy. So just very, very heavy emphasis on your second house of values and resources. So might find yourself really trying to figure out what's important to you. What do you really need? How can you simplify things with the North Node there? We're all being asked to do that in different areas of our life, and I'll get into how the nodal energy is interacting with everything else that is moving around astrologically in a few minutes. But right now, focus on the simple things in life, how we take care of ourselves. Okay. We also have a lot of this Pisces energy, which I'll probably come back to that, but we have Pisces, we have Pluto, and we have Saturn. And one thing that I want to really emphasize here, and I'll talk about during the reading, is that a lot of these energies are traveling in the later degrees of the sign. So it's kind of like a wrap up time, kind of like a push to move through that energy and that area of life and get things done. So I think all of us might be feeling that type of, or that sense of urgency maybe in a lot of areas of our life. So let's take a look at how that is shaken out for you. So in addition to Taurus and thinking about your comfort and your lifestyle and things like that, Pluto is very, very much in play here, has been, but very much in play here, talking and having a conversation with, oops, I am not drawing very well, with the Sun in Taurus. And it was actually, can't see that blue line very well. I'm going to have to change that color, which I will do in a minute. Pluto has been having a conversation with the Sun for a while. It was having a conversation when it was in the late degrees of Aries. Now it is having a conversation with Taurus. You know, Aries was a lot of aggression. We may have seen a lot of aggression or felt compelled to take some quick action or stand up for something or anything like that, you know, just sort of champion something, you know, very active and fearless type thing. Now that the Sun is in Taurus and Pluto is squaring that energy, it's now like making us feel like we need to get down to basics, get down to brass tacks. For you in your second house, take a look at your finances, take a look at what you're earning at your job, take a look at what you need to live, your housing, everything around you that creates a secure and comfortable life for you. If you're experiencing difficulties or pressures at work, because Pluto here is in your 10th house of career and public image, that would be why. You could be really being pushed to produce at work, or there's something going on in your life or some kind of a commitment that is really making you feel some kind of a feeling of something having control over you, or just some kind of obsession or feeling that you need to really work hard in your professional world. Or within your commitments, to create a sense of security for yourself. Or maybe you're feeling like you're so controlled by your work life that you're having trouble actually simplifying things. So it can feel like pressure. Pluto in Capricorn at the end of the Capricorn transit, so later degrees of Capricorn, is asking us to really now we need to figure out the details. It's like, break it down, organize things. What's going on in your career? How can I organize things and simplify things, or make sense of things in that area of life, so that it doesn't feel like there's so much control over me and like maybe married to your career or a slave to your commitments, possibly. How do you simplify your life? How do you feel that urge to change and simplify your life, reconciling that between your job and your commitments and what you need to actually survive? So there could be some pressure there, depending on what's going on in your life. Are you in a job where you absolutely generate enough income or enough, your reputation is good enough, your job is serving you well, so that you can actually easily feel that nudge and that tension and go, okay, now I'm going to start, filing things away and getting my financial houses in order. If you aren't in a place in your career where you feel like that is easy, then this is going to feel very, very difficult for you, but you will feel a push. Pluto wants change. And when it travels through an area of life, in your case, the 10th house of your career and your commitments, it's going to force it, and the pressure can be so heavy that to make that change, it's coming from your soul. It's the evolutionary process that it can either destroy it or regenerate it in some way. Whatever happens, it could be bringing up a lot of emotion. Even frustration, or just bringing up things that are just very, very difficult putting them in front of you so that you have to actually deal with them. So Pluto is very strong, and I wanted to point that out. Pluto is very strong for all of us. It just depends on what area of life it's hitting, and it just so happens that for Aries rising, it's focused in on your career and your resources. We also have here, as you can see, Saturn in the later degrees of Aquarius, where it now wants us to balance out what we've learned, and the energy that's coming through for Aries rising is how you relate to the community, to the collective, your friends, your acquaintances, groups that you are involved in, how you receive and interact socially with others. What are your social responsibilities? Saturn there is talking about your responsibilities to society, or how society is treating you. Saturn brings up fears and delays. It's trying to teach us lessons, and could have spent a lot of time while Saturn's been in that house learning those lessons and actually getting out there and trying to find your place in the community, give back, receive. That is what it's about. It's about balance. Now is a time, you've learned what you need to learn. You know where you want to head. You understand, or you're figuring out your place in society and how you can give back and, receive. And, it's an evolutionary process that starts with, I'm here and I'm an individual and I'm going to do what I want. The rebel, the revolutionary, and then on and on. And now it's in the stage where it's like, okay, the experience has been had, and now we need to balance that out. It's a give and take, social responsibility. Saturn says now is the time to start understanding, balancing out your responsibility to society, and realizing that it is a give and take. And this can be difficult because it is in a T-square here, where I'm drawing these lines to the nodes of fate, and the nodes are transiting for a little bit more than a year and a half still, and they are also transiting in late degrees as well. Oops, let me clear that off. Okay, transiting here in late degrees of Taurus and of Scorpio, and so that is going to be let's take the square. Let's do the south node first. That square from the south node to Saturn, which is where we've come from, dredging up the past, dredging up our fears. In the 8th house, dealing with shared resources, intimate partnerships, issues around sex, issues around endings, finances in general, your legacy, inheritances, things like that, all coming out of the 8th house, and the south node in Scorpio in the later degrees, which is now in a place where it wants to feel comfortable. Now it's a place to come and feel nurtured and feel protected, and that is interesting in the 8th house, because we feel that way in the 8th house is because we incubate ourselves with those issues that we don't want to really process publicly. We incubate them all on our own in the 8th house, and the south node in Scorpio is saying, okay, now it's time to unpack how we've been dealing with our 8th house issues. Maybe it's not serving us. Maybe now we need to give back, so it needs to come out, or we need to unpack that in our psyche, drudge it up, because the things that we hide in there could be causing us issues around all of those areas that I mentioned. So for instance, we're talking about Saturn and social responsibility, and we take the 8th house and we say it's shared resources, so it could be money that you owe. In the 8th house, in Scorpio, so if you've got a Scorpio 8th house, you're probably, Scorpio is usually really good with money, but you know, in that house, it's like controlling and maybe a fear of actually letting some of it go, or, you know, incurring debts and a fear of actually, you know, reaching out and dealing with how to manage that. Or they could be sexual fears, you know, this can be a very, very deep house in Scorpio in the 8th. So whatever issues around that area of life that are coming up for you, that Saturn is really pressuring you, you know, your social responsibility, how you receive energy through other people out there in the community, there's got to be a reconciliation here. Something's got to give. And change, and that would be an area of life that might feel a little difficult to let go of. But those nodes are saying it's time to regenerate and change, because Pluto rules Scorpio in the 8th house. It's a good place to have that energy, because the 8th house, and especially Scorpio, knows that energy. So very used to probably turning over and blowing up and rebuilding things like that in your life as an Aries rising anyway. But now it's like, okay, maybe it's time not to do it by yourself. It's time to bring that out. So letting go of some of the control that you have felt like you needed to keep to feel secure in that area of life. And Saturn is saying it's time. It's time. The evolutionary process is, you know, it's coming through, and it's time that we grow and change, because when we stay a certain way, you know, life is not exciting that way, but the universe's plan and our soul's plan is to evolve so that as people, so we can experience a much more enriching life, but also to evolve so that we can actually give back to the community and our relationships and the people that we're connected with in a healthier way. So this Saturn is also, squaring the North Node, which is where the universe is pushing us. And these nodes are karmic and they're fateful. Draw it again. So whatever's happening in your life, it was in the plan, right? This is the plan for the evolution of your life. And the South Node in Taurus here, in the late degrees of Taurus, and they move backwards. So, you know, they go from the higher degree all the way to the lower. So it will transit your entire 2nd house and your entire 8th house. If you have points in those houses, personal points, that these energies are actually hitting, then you could really, really be resonating with this and feeling a push of some sort in those areas of life. So 2nd house, 8th house primarily deals with money and earned income and shared resources, but it can be anything that you value. And then anything related to that you want to keep sacred and secret, and, you know, maybe the things that you're afraid to lose, you know, 2nd house, 8th house. And that could be people. The 8th house is very karmic. It's also about, you know, can be about paying back karmic debts, or, you know, relationships, things that are sacred and purposeful, but not always easy. So the South Node in Taurus wants us to simplify. Let go of the things that that we've kept internal, whatever that might be, in that area of life, and bring it into a place in the earth that is simple and more comfortable. What is it that we truly need? Taurus is an earth sign. It's an earth sign ruled by Venus. So it really is thinking about, this is what I really value and what I want to create for myself in terms of my environment and my home and you know, my comfort and how I want to live. And maybe I have to let go of some of those fears and secrets and, you know, whatever is there in that 8th house, so that I can actually experience a happier, simpler life in the world that you live in. And that's an example of what this could feel like. But we all have our own journey, and Saturn squaring that, even though it's pushing us and forcing us, it's like, this is your responsibility as a human being in the collective. What have you done to make it easier now that you've gotten to this point? Or are there things that you're still trying to reconcile and you're feeling pressure and stress? And that could be happening right now. So that's very significant. And I wanted to point that out, because where the nodes are interacting, and especially with energies like Saturn, it doesn't always feel good, and again, fears and frustrations, it can be putting into place the lessons that we've learned and it could be just as simple as feeling delayed or sort of held back from something. Whatever it is, it has to do with for the most part, finances, shared resources, and your security and comfort. So moving on here, we have all of this energy here still in Pisces. And, the Pisces is, it's a water sign, and it's a very feeling, it's intuition, it's sensing energy. This Pisces energy has been traveling for Aries rising in your 12th house of the subconscious, or what's hidden. You could feel very, very dreamy on the upside, dreamy and really connected psychically in your dreams. But if you've got things in that 12th house that have been confusing, or things that you're hiding in there that you just really don't want to deal with, that's the place where we go to sort of fall into the things that we want to keep private, but that kind of haunt us in our mind and in our subconscious. The 12th house, is our connection to the divine, but it's also can be the house of self-undoing. It's the house of reconciling our karma, coming to the end. So there can be subconscious fears. There can be it can include sadness and depression. That could have gotten bigger for you during this Pisces, all of this Pisces transiting through your 12th house. Or, like I said, you could have just had a really rich dream life, a really rich inner life. Whatever it is, this is a call to have faith, connect to your intuition, find your own personal divinity, and just kind of come back into yourself. Listen to your soul, listen to your heart, and just be very careful. It's really a time to sort of get in touch with your senses. And, if you're having anything difficult go on, as a result of the real world issues, that can be a little bit hard to do. So anything around water is going to be really therapeutic. Any kind of energy type of work is going to be important. We have Venus too, also there, as you can see, traveling in Pisces, and that is actually a beautiful and positive energy. Listen, all of this Pisces energy has the potential to be beautiful and positive. The conjunctions that have happened with Jupiter and Neptune, holding faith, and, like I said, paying attention, coming back into yourself, that's all really good. It's also very good for creating and putting yourself out there in terms of, musically and writing and poetry and art. If you can channel that very confusing sort of ethereal Neptunian Pisces energy in those kinds of ways, very, very, very good use of that kind of energy. But trying to make sense out of things, very, very hard right now. But Venus and Venus will also come into conjunction with Neptune towards the end of the month, And all of this coming together is can be very uplifting. It's a place where we can hold on to hope and faith that there will be divine intervention, that spirit is actually in charge and looking over things, and for us to just kind of let go and feel the energy coming through us, and hold faith that if we are following our soul's path and if we are, in our integrity, that we're going to be led right where we need to go. Can be very hard to do that during this time. As an Aries rising, you want to take action. You're a fighter and you want to get out there and make things, fight for things, move things through. You are fearless. This is a lot of heavy water energy that has been traveling in your 12th house. So I can imagine that it may have had you feeling a little bit sluggish, maybe just not quite like yourself. Good thing and you might be wanting to reach out and sort of like figure out, why am I feeling like that? That's a really good thing. This is a good time to do things like I said, therapeutically, water therapy, energy therapy. Good time to reach out and get therapy if you think that you need it, if you're having a difficulty maintaining things in the structured sort of reality part of your life, or even to do things like get spiritual reading, read spiritual things, try to find what your connection to your divinity is, or to your place where your soul lies, where you can fill yourself up that way. All of that is really, really good. Venus in there too in the 12th house. You could be ruminating and sort of wondering about a love interest. That is definitely possible. Venus in the 12th house with Neptune there and Jupiter. You could be sort of getting over or a love interest, that a love relationship, or some kind of an ending possibly of something that you valued. Or trying to reconcile and figure out exactly what it all means and where it's going, so that is a confusing house. Mars has just moved into Pisces as well, and that's where you want to take action and do something and move things around. It's not the same energy as Aries energy. Mars rules Aries, and in Pisces it's very, very different. You could feel that energy coming into your 12th house along with the other Pisces energy. You could feel kind of like you're wading in water or walking in wet sand or something. This is a good time to actually seek out something spiritual. Maybe even a person that can help you. Like I was talking before, anything that you can take action towards, reconciling what's in your soul, or enhancing or figuring out what it is your spiritual beliefs are. Therapy, if you're having a difficult time reconciling your energy or knowing which way to go. Very, very important though, with all of this Pisces energy in your 12th house, is to be discerning. Whatever it is that you're checking out or reading or trying to connect to, make sure that it actually feels like it resonates with your soul, that it fills your heart. Not a good time to make any hard decisions about anything right now in that area. Just check it out, feel it, take care of yourself, but be very careful in that energy of who you get attached to in terms of groups, whether that is seeking some kind of therapy or spiritual counseling. Be very discerning, because unfortunately Pisces energy, all of that in Pisces, can create illusions. It can create situations where we're being deceived in some way, or we just don't see things clearly. That energy, although the universe wants us to expand our spirituality and our connection to the divine and God, there are a lot of people that are coming in and saying, oh, here, come over to our house, or come to our place, or come see me, or I know this, and we just have to be very discerning a lot of spiritual and religious fanaticism potentially, especially in the 12th house. It's really you're searching, it looks like to me from this chart, to some connection to your divinity and spirituality, which is fantastic, but just be very careful. Good time to just feel through these things. As Mars and Venus move into Aries in your first house, things will start to become more clear. You will feel much more empowered to take action. Of course, you know, as an Aries, that you can be a little bit impulsive after being held back and maybe feeling a little confused or a little slowed down. That now your vitality, you know, is coming into you as a person, and you're feeling, you know, more valuable and more attractive, and, you know, wanting to interact. Just be careful, you know, about the impulsivity that, you know, can occur sometimes with Aries. And, you know, watch yourself, but it will be a really great time for you to start, you know, taking action. Good time to start working out once Mars moves into your first house, and Venus. Work out, take care of your body. Venus also very good for that. That's your could be your physical appearance. Good time to reach out, you know, and start expressing, you know, to other people. Let other people see you, and, you know, your increased level of energy and activity. And, you know, Aries is always very upbeat. And so you'll start feeling a little bit of this lift towards the end of the month when Mars and Venus move into your first house in Aries. So, it's been a little tough, but I think that, you know, this might be kind of like a spiritual sojourn or journey for Aries rising, you know, since the beginning of the year. And I hope that it's, you know, I hope it's turned, you know, that it's turning out well for you, that you're coming out feeling like you've learned something more, and you're closer to, you know, to yourself, your own home inside. We have a couple of significant lunations coming up. We have a new moon solar eclipse, and eclipses are a big deal. They usually, you know, a solar eclipse in a new moon is starting something, really planting the seeds so that it can grow. The solar eclipse energy can, you know, it's the beginning of a cycle that can last quite some time, but, you know, I'll talk more about all of the energies at play when the solar eclipse happens. But we have that coming up on the 30th. We have a lunar eclipse on May 15th. In the sign of Scorpio, which might be a bit more intense and quicker acting. So there's a lot going on there. I'm working on still something very special regarding all of the Neptune energy that, you know, I think we all are hopeful for, but I think a lot of us have struggled a little bit through those things, you know, psychologically a little bit, or otherwise just feeling everything. But I think that there is a very positive side to this, and I am working on how I think that is going to be expressed significantly, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get that out in the next week before all of this energy starts to move out of Pisces. And of course, working on the horoscopes still. So I really want to tell you that I appreciate you again for being here. If you have any questions, throw them down below. I'm happy to answer them. If you'd like a personal reading, now's a great time to do it. And I would love to read for you. Head over to my website, jovestar.com, jovestar.com. Otherwise, I will see you next month in Gemini season for your Gemini June 2022 horoscope reading. And until then, may the stars forever be in your favor. Take really good care, and I will see you next time.